Armenia is a unique country in the middle of a geopolitical, economic, dynamic chessboard. And with the way that WMD threats have been evolving, we felt it was important to ensure that our investments in countering WMD with Armenia still hold true should something happen. The field training exercise will be out in the field where we'll physically see a lot of processes and procedures within the biosecurity and biosafety capacities that the Biological Threat Reduction Program has built. And for our Weapons of Mass Destruction Proliferation Prevention Program, we can focus on a lot of the chemical, radiological, nuclear, and dual-use item threats that emanate across the border. It's been a 16-month planning process. This is the first time they've ever done an interagency coordinated effort such as this. Scenario number one was a bio-focus or bioterrorist focus. You had two scientists that wanted to smuggle a live agent out of the country with means of weaponizing it into a bio-WMD. We used international resources, like we faked a red letter notice from Interpol in that they're approaching your border, they are leaving here, they are known to be carrying, or we think carrying, these kind of agents or EDPs. They want to take them and transport them to another country where we know they have a bioweapons facility. That was supposed to invoke a lot of the security apparatuses within the government of Armenia, as well as test customs and the border guards' knowledge on receiving intel from outside of normal chain of commands. Scenario number two involved a radiological or nuclear smuggling, and we invoked using a lot of the portal monitor systems as well as handheld detection equipment given by some of our other U.S. interagency counterparts. So bringing in really that holistic, like first line of defense, second line of defense that's been set up here in Armenia. So really invoked a lot of the customs and what to do and how to process border guards there, as well as, again, some of the security apparatuses on, hey, we have a nuclear incident here. Brought a lot to light where there are some gaps and definitely vulnerabilities in coordination that can be helped. Third scenario that we ran that day was scenario 3A, which was a chemical incident. It was an import into the country. We had a vehicle come through, had all the right papers, passes through, and then Interpol red notice comes through again from a nearby neighbor that there's a person who's on the way to the border carrying chemical items of concern, concealing them. Frontline officer notified chief on duty, and then all the appropriate calls were made. They rolled back the videotape, found the driver, and then did everything they do in the reporting. And that was what we called scenario 3A, because the second part is giving to the chase and then hopefully arrest and prosecution of this nefarious actor.
So in this scenario, you have a farmer who's discovered that they have multiple cows that have passed away and they don't understand why. The local vet comes in, assesses that it's probably some type of illness, perhaps biological, chemical, not really sure, so they're going to don the proper personal protective equipment, go out, take a sample, and then take it to the local laboratory for testing. They put safety and risk above all. They talked us through what they were thinking, and then the processes from here on out. Biological threats, illnesses, sicknesses don't have borders, they don't have boundaries. So they can easily jump from one country to another. So the objective was to come out here and just showcase their capability, see what they've learned, how they've learned it, and put that on display.
Today's scenario focuses on dual-use items of concern. We've brought some real-life injects into this scenario, smuggling drones and drone chips, chemical analyzers, washers out of washing machines that are used to put together for delivery systems. Also small bits and pieces here of hazardous waste material that when you put it together with some of the other items of concern, you're like, oh, those two shouldn't go together. So really we're just using these scenarios to test their knowledge of the bio regimes or chemical regimes, dual-use item lists that we know Armenia should be training up on. These scenarios are realistic scenarios that can happen every day, and we just want to know, again, where the gaps are in training for your personnel so that way we can assist with filling that gap.
So this was one of the culminating events for one of the scenarios that we did, where a person came through the border, made it through, had some chemicals that were not cleared.
Police chasing the vehicle, police roadblock set up ahead. Car pulled into this area to try and avoid the roadblock, rolled over, chemicals spilled out of the back of the vehicle. Personnel were injured, and that is the scene that people came upon and had to respond to.
So we were really trying to look at their interagency coordination when you start to pull this many people in. How well do they work together, mesh together, and coordinate with each other on scene?
Տեսեք, առանց միջ գերատեսչական համագործակցության ոչ մի ինչ-որ այսպես ասած արդյունավետ աշխատանք մենք չենք կարող իրականացնել, նույններ նրանք առանց մեզ, քանի որ այսպես ասած փոխադարձում է գործողությունները, մենք երբ որ դեպքի վայր արդեն մուտք գործեցինք, կային տուժածներ.
You saw the communication between the ERS and the MOD CBRN, and that's a key element of what we were trying to do in the exercise, interagency coordination, and that was demonstrated here today.
This exercise has gone far better than countries who do exercises on an annual basis. So that says something for how prepared each of the ministries and agencies came to this exercise. I'm not sitting here to pump up your ego. I'm here to give you the solid truth. There were a lot more victors and wins in this exercise. I think you guys have a good base and a platform to start on for interagency communication and coordination. And I can't wait to see how Armenia grows in that.
Շատ կարևոր է նաև այդ երկկողմ համագործակցությունը, որովհետև շատ անգամ երբ որ այս վարժանքները մենք բոլորս էլ ամեն մեկս աշխատում են որոշակի գերատեսչությունում եւ ամբողջ շղթան չի երևում, այսինքն այդ խնդիրները, որը կարող է համակարգային խնդիրներ լինեն։ Եվ նմանատիպ վարժանքը թույլ է տալիս այդ բացահայտել այդ խնդիրները, որը առկա են։
Relationships have been very special. There's been a lot of trust that's been established. It wasn't easy right away. I mean, Armenia is a former Soviet Union country. 98% of them have never done something like this before. And they realize the importance of this. And I think the number one request I've gotten this whole week was, can we do this every year? They've realized that more than ever, this is extremely important.